$1,091,340 US. Is this the median price of a house in Vancouver? No, this is the largest amount someone has been fined for speeding, and it happened when a Swedish motorist decided to go on a joyride through the Alps at 290 kilometers per hour in 2010. Now, if you're watching from North America, this may shock you. However, if you're from Europe or Latin America, you might already be familiar with this type of penalty. This is because in many countries, fines are not assessed solely based on the offense, but also on the income of the offender. Income-based fines, or day fines, factor in the income of the individual using taxation data or other methods. Instead of assessing fines in terms of dollars, they are assessed in terms of days' wages. For example, the speeding Swedish motorist was assessed 300 days of wages. Are day fines a good idea? Let's go to first principles. What is the purpose of a justice system? The first goal should be to protect the general public. This is why murderers go to prison. Since we're talking about fines that apply to more minor offenses, we're not going to be focusing on this so much. The second goal should be to deter people from committing crimes. We create penalties as a way of discouraging people from engaging in destructive behavior. Third, punishment should be proportional to the crime or the damage it caused. And finally, justice should have a rehabilitating component so that those who offend don't re-offend. If we look at a flat fine system, it does little to discourage the very wealthy from committing an offense. A $150 speeding ticket is a drop in the bucket for a multimillionaire. There is nothing to discourage them from engaging in this dangerous behavior. A day fine, on the other hand, would assess a penalty that would bite no matter what their income level is. Now, if we look at proportionality, you may think, how is a crime more costly to society if a rich person did it? Remember that most punishments only loosely reflect the damage caused by criminal activity. A person who burns down a house doesn't usually pay for a new house. We've long since moved beyond an eye for an eye. For severe crimes, this proportionality exists in the form of lost freedom while imprisoned, which is experienced equally whether you are rich or poor. According to Alex Schierenbeck of the University of Chicago, the goal behind day fines is to make sure that financial penalties are also experienced equally. More severe offenses are assessed more days of income. Finally, let's look at how well both systems work in terms of restoring people's lives. One of the big problems with flat fines is that they are often too high for poor people. In many cases, these people are either thrown in jail, which makes them more likely to engage in criminal activity once released, or end up in a never-ending cycle of criminal justice debt. Take the case of Malaya Harnett, who is trying to pay off $206 for 2 minor traffic citations 15 years later. Day fines, on the other hand, mean it's more likely that poor people are actually able to pay the fines and avoid getting trapped in the cycle of crime and poverty. In Germany, where the day fine principle applies, only 4% of people fail to pay their fines. Although only a few studies have been conducted in the US, they showed collection rates improved, especially amongst the poorest. All of this, of course, ignores some other practical benefits of income-based fines. Since fewer people are jailed for not being able to pay, income-based fines would reduce expensive incarceration costs. They would also reduce all the costs associated with collecting fines and debts from poor people who lack the means. Day fines could also lead to more revenue being collected, but this would need to be separated from the police budget in order to not encourage abuse. This is not to say there aren't any caveats to implementing day fines. Many offenses will require minimums in order to be effective as a way of deterring people with no income from committing offenses. Also, day fines are not a substitute for judgment. In the UK, a day fine system based on a mathematical formula was ultimately rejected because it was deemed arbitrary. Most day fine systems give judges flexibility in setting the number of days of wages to be collected. Finally, there is an additional processing cost for assessing day fines, as the income of the offender needs to be determined. Finland, for example, started assessing flat fines for parking tickets once more when the benefit of day fines was found not to be worth the added cost. When I started working on this video, it made intuitive sense that fines need to be scaled in order to deter the wealthy from committing offenses. What I didn't realize were the profound ways an income-based fine system could help the very poor in avoiding the trap of crime and poverty. Day fines right now are a European and Latin American phenomenon. I think it's time it became a worldwide one. Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video. Do you think day fines are a good idea? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, and if you would like to support me in creating more videos like this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. If you would like to see day fines used in your community, I would suggest supporting local social justice advocacy groups and lobby your local or regional governments that are responsible for these laws. For example, where I live, the BC Poverty Reduction Coalition is advocating for a fair approach to fines. I've left some resources in the description.